As a Mortal Kombat fan, I'm very delighted to say that when it comes to video game to movie adaptations, Mortal Kombat has a really good track record. Out of 7 films, 3 live action and 4 animated, only 1 can be branded as bad. The real question and what I'm trying to answer today is what movie takes the gold medal as the quote-unquote best Mortal Kombat movie. This video is highly subjective and here is your spoiler warning. To figure out the best one, here is my quick ranking of the Mortal Kombat movies. In last place is Annihilation, the only one I can bring myself to call it bad. Fortunately, it's so bad it makes for an entertaining hour and 30 minutes. I feel bad for Battle of the Rams, as I enjoy the first 2 acts, but the third decides to jump not just the shark, but the biggest sea creature out there. With Mortal Kombat 2021, I totally get why many fans hate it. The film commits to some really bad decisions, like what the heck they did with Goro, and I agree that Cole Young should have been Johnny Cage. With that said, I don't dislike MK 2021. I think it's fine, for the most part. Cage Match is a solid entry to the Legend series of films, but it doesn't offer much for me to make the case of it being great. It's a fun film and I'd recommend it. Mortal Kombat 1995 is like the default pick for best MK film and it's a top tier video game to live action adaptation. It's up there with the best video game movies. It is really good, but I think 2 Mortal Kombat films are even better. These 2 are Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge and Snowblind. To this day I never could pick a favorite out of these 2, so now I'm going to compare them to figure out which one reigns supreme. I'm going to start by focusing on the protagonists. Scorpion's Revenge has 4 protagonists, that being the titular Scorpion, but also Liu Kang, Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, while Snowblind has only 2, with Kenshi and Kuei Liang Sub-Zero. The filmmakers behind Scorpion's Revenge did the best they could, with the little screen time they were able to give the characters that aren't Scorpion, and they were able to give them satisfying little stories. Liu Kang goes into the tournament with massive weight on his shoulders, with Raiden putting all of his hopes onto him for him to win this tournament. And in the end, he fails and he knows he has to get stronger. Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade are introduced very quickly but effectively, and they have clear purposes. Johnny is the fish out of water and Sonya needs to save Jax. Sonya underestimates Johnny, but he proves himself to her in the climax. Scorpion's Revenge pulls off a lot in its short runtime, but Snowblind was written with less main characters demanding screen time, so it was allowed to soar way more than Scorpion's Revenge ever could with its MCs. Kenshi starts out as a man looking to increase and prove his power. Being stronger than his opponents makes him feel honorable. This character flaw leads to him being deceived by Shang Tsung, and he loses everything. He loses his sight, a very important thing for hand-to-hand fighting. But Sub-Zero teaches Kenshi to live and fight under his new circumstances, and he ends up a good man, fighting for what's right and not just to feel strong.
Doing what's right isn't pride, it's honor.
Kuei Liang starts out as a beaten down man, haunted by his destructive past, and he is now just a farmer, blending in with his surroundings, afraid of what his own powers can do. He takes pity on Kenshi, and Kenshi helps Kuei Liang realize his hypocrisy.
There is nothing more poisonous than I can't aim. I can't.
There is nothing more poisonous than I can't.
And then Kuei Liang has to face his fear and return to being Sub-Zero, with Scorpion by his side. As you can hear, the character work in Snowblind really does it for me. It trims all fat and doubles down on what's important. It even gives us a villain to be remembered. So now to move on to the villains. Scorpion's Revenge features Quan Chi and Shang Tsung as main villains, and Goro and Kano as secondary villains. Snowblind switches it around and has Shang Tsung as the secondary villain and Kano as the main villain. As much as I like Scorpion's Revenge, I have to say that its villains are kinda lame. Goro and Kano are threats to be taken seriously, but they have very little to make them memorable. Quan Chi, on the other hand, is a stupid, weak jerk. His motivations for the stuff he does is either non-existent or dumb. His goal is to free Shinnok, and he needs the key to do that. Instead of just intruding the island to get the key, maybe disguised as Shang Tsung, he hatches the stupidest plan. He kills Hanzo Hasashi's family and clan, disguised as Lin Kuei, to get Scorpions to fight for him. And then he tells Scorpions the truth at what he assumes is his dying moment, for no other reason than to be a jerk. Then he tries to poison Shang Tsung for no other reason than to be a jerk. He gains nothing from Shang Tsung's death. Just a moment later, he's bested by Shang, rendering him an unworthy villain for final fight. As I said, he just should have disguised himself as Shang Tsung to get the key, and then he would have easily succeeded. There is much that makes Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge great, but the villains aren't part of that stuff. Fortunately, Snowblind absolutely annihilates most of the Mortal Kombat franchise when it comes to the villain. Kano. Yeah, Kano rules in this film, and it blows my mind, as Kano has always been depicted as a jobber in the games and in the movies, including Scorpion's Revenge. In this film, he's strong AF. He beats Shang Tsung without trouble, and he holds his own very well against Sub-Zero, Scorpion and Kenshi at the same time. And I think his story here is genius. The big twist of Snowblind is that it's a continuation of Kano's ending in Mortal Kombat 11. He is the creator of the very world the story takes place in, and he has recreated the world many times. So many times it didn't bring him any joy anymore. He became a god, yet he gave up his godlike status to challenge himself. The twist is foreshadowed very well if you spend attention to what Kano says.
He's made us something. Something bad. Something powerful. I like this world. And I'll make it again and again and again.
I think this is fascinating, as he could have anything he ever wished for, but he realizes that the meaning of his own life is as follows. The thrill of working towards what he wants to achieve is more important than the satisfaction of the achievement. Journey over destination, in simple words. After watching Snowblind, Kano became my second favorite Mortal Kombat villain, after Cary Hiroki Tagawa's Shang Tsung. Before I'm looking at the fight scenes, I'm quickly addressing the art styles. I need to say I really dig both of these art styles. I also have to say that I have no clue about what makes a certain art style better than another. And to be honest, I think there is no objective answer possible. Who would have guessed, with art literally being part of the word art style? Here are screenshots of Scorpion in both films. As you can see, Scorpion is a lot simpler in his own film compared to his cameo in Snowblind. And I think that's largely for the better. Also, his signature yellow comes across much better. It offers nice contrast to the black, while in Snowblind, Scorpion's look is just very dark. Scorpion's Revenge generally uses black very well to contrast each given character's primary color. However, I think Snowblind has a superior art style. The backgrounds look gorgeous, and it does something very unique by these imperfections on the black lines. When it comes to animation quality, I would put both films on the same level, but which one has the superior choreographed and shot fight scenes is what I'm trying to figure out next. I'm going to analyze both my favorite and least favorite fights from both films to determine a winner here. The weakest fight in Scorpion's Revenge is Johnny Cage vs Takatan, because Johnny is just dodging and running away, and he wins the fight by just jumping off a building. The point is here that the movie wants to save Johnny's big moment for much later, so it feels a bit forced that Johnny is not even trying to throw a single punch. I get what they are going for, but it's a bit of wasted potential. The weakest fight in Snowblind is Kenshi vs Kuai Liang, and they are obviously not trying to kill each other here, so Kuai Liang is just blocking until he ends the fight in one attack. I would have wished for Sub-Zero to shine through, like Kuai Liang accidentally using a bit of his ice magic. The best one in Scorpion's Revenge is the 4 protagonists against the Black Dragon Goons. I like how every character gets a moment to shine, particularly how effortlessly Sonya Blade takes Johnny out of the equation while fighting the Goons. As the best one in Snowblind, I choose Kenshi vs Kano forces. This camera spin is probably the most memorable shot out of the entire movie. It's awesome! It's so impressive to see Kenshi hold his own for so long until he finally loses to Tremor, setting up their final encounter a little later. So who wins here? It's a really close call, but I'm giving this one to Snowblind as well. And here is my weird explanation. In an early fight, Tremor does this throwing move chain, which looks like one of the rush attacks out of the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi games, and they are awesome. When you hear these words, shouted by this voice, what does your mind do? I bet in most of your minds this started to play. The Mortal Kombat live action movies are all tied together by this extremely popular melody from the OG 1995 motion picture, and it has reason to be the representation of Mortal Kombat's musical identity. With that said, none of the animated films feature the Techno Syndrome. Sad. Actually, none of the animated movies have memorable original material. The soundtracks of the first 3 Legend movies, they serve the purpose, they sell the emotion, and they don't distract, but there is nothing special there. The exception here is Cage Match, with its 80s music and licensed songs. Yet not even Cage Match has been treated with a full soundtrack release. With no full soundtracks for me to analyze, I have to focus on the main themes. Scorpion's Revenge wins here. At least parts of it try to invoke the feeling you get when you listen to Techno Syndrome. And it has this nice part. Snowblind's main theme is just forgettable. The instrument that plays the melody here sounds nice and it invokes a sense of freedom, which the movie does not match. Yeah, it's forgettable, but it does not anger me. To conclude this battle, I think I have made it clear in the last minutes that Snowblind takes the cake in my case. It is my favorite Mortal Kombat movie, with Scorpion's Revenge on 2nd place and 1995 on 3rd. I'm just so glad that the filmmakers made the choice to just take the Mortal Kombat characters and place them in an entirely different setting, far removed from the tournament. Scorpion's Revenge is a good adaptation of the game's story, but it offers little originality, while Snowblind took inspiration from Mad Max and it still told a really creative story, with a twist at the end that blew my mind. Scorpion's Revenge has a little twist as well, with Scorpion killing Goro in the midst of his fight with Liu Kang, just to yield to him a moment after. That moment came out of nowhere and it subverted my expectations in a good way. So that's it, the first and the third of the Mortal Kombat Legend movies are great. And Snowblind is not just the best Legends movie, but the best Mortal Kombat movie overall. But leave your opinion in the comments below and thank you for bearing with me.
Did you declare Mortal Kombat? Did you?
Nope.
What about you? Did you declare Mortal Kombat? Good, great. Then no one needs to die. Sheesh.